Good to have you with us for another episode of the Breaking Entering podcast presented by Premium. He's Ed. I'm Brandon. We got a big week 8 on tap, everyone. All 32 teams will hit the field at some point this weekend. Ed, what's going on, man?
Another day, man. Another day. Looking forward to this weekend. See how our teams do. Hopefully, I hope they just sit Jaden Daniels out another week. Talk about
Yeah.
Commanders against the Bears. I don't care about the number one overall pick against the number two overall pick. That's for the Birds, in my opinion. Sit them, rest them, save them from himself is to get them healthy. But yeah, man, let's get into it, shall we? All right, let's get this opening drive going, everyone. The Panthers are going to start Bryce Young on Sunday after Andy Dalton was injured in a car crash. I think he has a sprained thumb. Jameis Winston will start Sunday. Ken Dorsey is set to call plays now instead of head coach Kevin Stefanski. The Texans have signed linebacker Devin White. DeAndre Hopkins, D-Hop, has been traded to the Chiefs. Broncos wide receiver Josh Reynolds is recovering after being shot last Friday in Denver. Lions wide receiver Jamison Williams has been suspended for 2 games after violating the NFL's policy on PEDs. Hassan Reddick will hit the field Sunday for the first time as a member of the NY Jets. Vikings tackle Christian Darrisaw is out for the season after injuring his ACL and MCL in his left knee. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is expected to play Sunday against Arizona, and the NFL has fined Ravens linebacker Roquan Smith for his hip drop tackle on Chris Godwin that got him out for the season. Okay, everyone, we're going to talk about the game last night, the Thursday night football matchup. Vikings at the Rams. Rams beat the Vikings 30-20. Matthew Stafford had his two main weapons back, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. This game came out the gate and both teams were flying. Vikings scored. Rams got the ball, then they scored. Vikings get the ball back, they score. Rams get the ball back and they score all touchdowns. I was like, uh-oh, is this going to be a shootout? Teams kind of simmered down some. The defense started to play ready. Next time the Vikings scored, there was a field goal, and the game kind of slowed down from there. Big controversy at the end for the Rams. I guess for the Vikings, I should say. Vikings are driving down the field. Rams defender pulled on the running back's face man. I believe it was Aaron Jones running the ball. It was a no call. That was very costly, non-call for the Vikings. So if they would have got that penalty, they would have kept driving. Probably would have scored, changed the outcome of just how the game was going. But that no call definitely had a huge impact on the game. But definitely, just going back to the overall game, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua back, definitely great, huge benefit for Matthew Stafford. He threw 4 touchdowns. And one of the key things of this game, in my opinion, was the run game. Look at the stats across the screen here. Kyron Williams, 97 yards rushing. Aaron Jones, I believe he only had about 58 yards rushing. Vikings weren't able to run the ball. The Rams were able to run the ball, along with Matt Stafford doing his thing with his two main weapons back. And I think that had a big part of the Rams winning this game. The Rams are now 3-4. I believe they are second in the NFC West now. So I think they're about to start going on a run. And I think the Vikings might go back to what everyone had thought they would be, just a middle of the pack, maybe below the border type of team. So we'll see how that goes going forward. But what are your thoughts on this game that happened last night?
Was it back in time? Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. They returned to the line with the Rams, put up 30. Stafford looked like he did in his Super Bowl year. Multiple touchdown passes in this one. Kyron Williams in the run game for the Rams was really an X factor. Whenever he had the ball, he pretty much did whatever he wanted to against that Minnesota defense, which was a little bit surprising how strong they are on the defensive side of the ball. But shout out to the Rams' defense, though, for getting after Sam Darnold. They didn't force any turnovers, but they did, create a long night for him. He was sacked, I believe, 3 times. You mentioned it early on. Looked like it was going to be a shootout. Both teams scores on their first 2 drives, touchdowns. Things started to settle down after that. But overall, yeah, Minnesota's dropped 2 straight now. Aren't looking as good as some people thought they were. I know last week was a little bit closer than this one. And on the total outcome of the scoreboard. But yeah, either way, 2 straight after winning their first 5, and I think what them and Kansas City were the only teams to reach 5-0. So yeah, not looking good right now for the Minnesota Vikings. Got to figure some things out to get back in the win column moving forward.
Yeah, and there was some rumors like Matthew Stafford could potentially be traded to the Vikings that I saw during this week before this game. That was a head scratcher for me. I'll
Yeah,
be very interested to see if the Rams, I guess, go into rebuild mode and get rid of Stafford because it looks like they're starting to hit all cylinders now. I think this is their second or third straight win. So yeah, I'll be interested to see if they do get rid of Stafford and trade him to the Vikings because he used to play for the Lions back in the day. So that definitely would be a little strange in my opinion. But let's move on. We got an NFC matchup. Cowboys at the 49ers this week. Uh, both teams need a win bad. Cowboys coming off a bye week, but before that, they got the doors absolutely blown off them by the Lions, 47-9. They do have some injuries. They're banged up on the defensive side of the ball. You know, Micah Parsons is still out with that ankle injury. So is Demarcus Lawrence. So it's going to be interesting to see how that defense looks out there. I think they'll be kind of better off against how the Niners look. You know, of course, Brandon Ayuk is out for the year after he blew his knee out. It looks like Jawan Jennings is going to miss this game too. He missed the last game with a hip injury. Looks like he's going to miss this game as well for hip injury. Debo Samuels, I think he is going to play, but I don't know how healthy he's going to be dealing with pneumonia and stuff like that. So I really want to see how this defense looks against a banged up Niners offense. I mean, George Kittle probably played too, but he was banged up. I think he's dealing with a foot illness right now, a foot injury, if you want to call it that. So I don't know, man. The Cowboys offense at the same time has been real shaky. I thought going into the season, Dak Prescott could be an MVP candidate, but besides CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson, their tight end, their wide receivers haven't really done much. I think that's forced Dak to make some plays that he hasn't wanted to, as far as just making aggressive plays, and he ends up turning the ball over or doing things he doesn't want to do. And that run game is pretty much non-existent. I mean, every now and then Rico Dotto looks okay, but is not consistent. Dak and Zeke, they're definitely not the 2016 or rookie second year versions of themselves anymore. So I don't know. But it just the Niners at the same time too, they're kind of going downhill in my opinion too, just because the injuries. First it was Christian McCaffrey, who hasn't even played yet because of Achilles tendonitis. Then, like I said, Brandon Ayuk, and then Jawan Jennings is going to miss his second straight game. So who is Brock Purdy going to throw the ball to besides Debo Samuels if he plays, and George Kittle? Who's going to step up? No, they got Ricky Pearsall back. It's crazy. I saw something online like he got shot 2 months ago in his damn chest, and he's the most healthy wide receiver on the team, believe it or not. I know Jake Cowing was another guy that played last week, but I just don't know. We're gonna see. I think this game is gonna be close, in my opinion. Uh, I think right now the more talented team at this point is probably the Niners. Just from the offensive line and defensive line, I think they can still do some things. But Dak versus Brock Purdy, I want to say Brock Purdy, but for some reason, something tells me the Cowboys, coming off a bye week, they're playing at the 49ers. They're playing at home. It might be a different story because at home, 3 straight losses. On the road, they're a little bit better. So give me the Cowboys in this one, man. I think it's going to be close, though. Some turnovers probably will happen. Fumble might occur, but I like the Cowboys to win this one and get over 500. What about you? How you feeling about this one?
man, you give Zeke the ball on the first offensive play from scrimmage. They got to erase uh that bad play from against San Fran when Kellen Moore called it their, I guess, their Hail Mary attempt in the wild card or divisional round a couple years ago against San Fran. But yeah, overall, Dak has to protect the ball in this one. It's simple. San Fran, they forced 2 turnovers last week against Patrick Mahomes, and they're capable of putting points up on the board. Um, I also think Dallas needs to put 8 men in the box, though, something to help stop the run. They haven't been able to run the ball, and they've been just as bad at stopping the run. Dallas's defense literally been dashed on the ground all season long. I think the Giants game was the only one that they really held the backs in check. I do feel like Dallas could go in there and inch out a win, but I'm not going to pick them just because I think San Fran will. You mentioned the injuries from the wide receiver position. I think they'll put the ball in the hands of Jordan Mason, Isaac Guerrero, run the ball, maintain the clock as well. Um, Sunday night football in prime time there in Santa Clara. They should win this one, in my opinion. San Fran's defense, though, they got to tackle a little bit better than they did last week against Kansas City. What they had that one play, Patrick Mahomes rolled out to the left. He just missed his name Fred Warner just missed him by his ankles, and then he ran out and like he pumped the ball twice, eyes looking to the right, and ended up with his biggest gain of his career. I think the 33-yard touchdown. I mean 33-yard scamper for a first down. But for San Fran, it's just game two of a long stretch of explosive offenses they'll have to face. So yeah, they got to get better at tackling the ball because um, they won't be that lucky. Just like last week, they'll end up losing um, if they continue to struggle in that phase of the game. All it leads to first downs and touchdowns when you can't tackle. So San Fran's got to get it together. I'm gonna go with San Fran in this one over the Cowboys. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas goes out there and sneaks out a win, but I'm gonna lean towards San Fran at this very moment. All right, everyone. Before we move forward, we're gonna take a moment to uh, talk about our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Premium. It's a CBD and wellness company. Check out their full line of CBD infused products, which make great stocking stuffers for the upcoming holiday season. Perfect for athletes, weekend warriors, soccer moms, and even armchair quarterbacks. They have CBD infused honey, which is a personal favorite, as well as tinctures in mint and regular flavor. Most importantly, they are veteran and women owned, so come get some of this sweet temptation and trace the premium difference. Use code BNE for 15% off your order. Their website is www.premium.com. That's PREHEMIUM.com. Again, PREHEMIUM.com. Now back to our show. Eagles and Bengals Sunday afternoon from the jungle. 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time kickoff there on CBS. Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they have an opportunity to break a pair of losing streaks in back-to-back weeks. Last week they beat Cleveland for the first time in Burrow's career, and this week they'll look to win their first home game of 2024, heading into Week 8. Philadelphia, they always struggles against the Bengals in Cincinnati all the way back to the Donovan McNabb days. I remember they tied, and Donovan McNabb forgot that they could even end in a tie in the regular season. That was a very fun moment back in high school with our fellow Eagles classmates. But yeah, I'm leaning towards the Eagles in this one. They just simply have so many different ways they can beat you. Need to air it out, no problem. They got Smith and Brown out there. Not sure how healthy Dallas Goddard is, but still need to run it, no problem. Of course, they got Saquon out there doing his thing. Jalen could keep it himself. You got the 4th and 1 tush push. Uh, Defensively, they can back you up and take the ball away from you. The secondary has improved a little bit more than last year, but this Bengals team, though, got to give credit to them. They play clean football. I mean, they're really protecting the ball. I think I don't even know if Joe Burrow has thrown an interception this year. If he did, he maybe had 2 on the season. Let me see real quick. Yeah, he has 2 interceptions on the year. But yeah, if both teams can protect the ball, I think it'll be a shootout. I think it'll be a very good game. Um, I do like the Eagles, though. Again, I got them winning by 3. I think it'll come down to the wire. How do you feel about this one?
Ah, man, I'm on the fence about this game, man. I agree with you. I kind of would want to give the Eagles the victory. I think Saquon Barkley can run the ball and then run the clock out basically on Joe Burrow and them. But at the same time, the Bengals are kind of rolling right now after losing their first 3. They won one, the loss, so now they won 2 in a row. That defense is starting to play better. But at the same time, I think Geno Stone is his name. I remember he
Yeah.
got hurt last game, so he's going to be gone, I think, the rest of the season, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's going to be a big loss for that defense, especially that secondary. But if they can contain Saquon a little bit, stop the run, Jalen Hurts, I don't know what I'm going to get for him. Some days he looks like an MVP candidate, and some days it looks like, damn, that contract does not look too good. So I don't know what to get for him. But at the same time, I'm thinking about last week, the Eagles against the Giants and how many sacks they got. I could definitely see that happening with Joe Burrow. Even though I think Joe Burrow is a couple of levels ahead of Daniel Jones, I do see that Eagles defense, specifically that D line, causing some havoc for Joe Burrow, and making it a very long, dirty game for him. Also, T. Higgins ended on the injury report that he was fine all week, but now he's questionable for quad injury. So if he doesn't play, give me the Eagles. But if he does play, I like the Bengals' chances a little more, just having more of their weapons out there on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, Chase Brown, I think he's starting to hit his stride as well. I know they have a shared backfield with Zach Moss and Chase Brown, but I think Chase Brown's starting to hit his stride, do his thing a little bit more. So I can see. I just want to see how that Eagles secondary looks against Joe Burrow and those receivers he's got. Jamar Chase, is he gonna face Darius Slay and this rookie cornerback for the Eagles, Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean or Cooper DeJohn, however you say his name. I need to get that right. I'll get it right in the future. How they're going to look against, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins if he plays. They got some tight ends out there on the Bengals side of the ball too that I like Mike Gesicki. He's been quiet lately, but he can definitely get it going if Joe Burrow looks his way. And they got this other guy that I think I mentioned in the past before. I think he's a rookie, Eric All, believe is his name. So yeah, man. I guess if I'm looking at him from the defensive viewpoint, give me the Eagles, but I'm honestly, my gut is telling me the Bengals are going to win this one. I think they need this win a little bit more, if that makes sense, than the Eagles do. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals in this one. They're favorite at home too, 2.5 point favorite. Yeah, give me the Bengals by a field goal. I like that.
Stadium will have the stars on display Sunday afternoon when the Dolphins host the Cardinals. Ed, how do you see this one panning out?
Tua Tagovailoa is back. I think that's going to energize these Dolphins. The Cardinals, it's like they 1 week they're good, 1 week they're not so good. 1 week, Kyler Murray looks like an MVP. Next week he just looks pedestrian, like an average quarterback. Still, I thought Marvin Harrison and Kyler Murray would be just a home run right out the gate, but it hasn't looked that way. Some weeks it's like Kyler Murray forgets he's on a damn team or something and doesn't look his way, or you just never know. So I like the Dolphins this one. I think Tua coming back. Even though I did say I think he should retire, he's back now. So hopefully he can remain healthy. But when he's out there, the offense is completely different. Now he did look crazy against the Bills, starting those interceptions. But at the same time, I still had the feeling they had a chance to win this game just because of the home run guys they got with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And now that Tua's back, like I said, that chemistry and the timing he does with those throws where he can hit guys while they're on a run, even though he might not have the biggest arm, he hits them in stride and they can take off. And I also like the running backs they got, Devin A-Chain and Raheem Mostert. I'm going to lean with the Dolphins in this one. The Cardinals, they lost. What was it? I want to say a defensive lineman, a very important piece of the defense last week went out for the season. His name escapes me at the moment, but I think that's going to have a big impact on that Cardinals defense too. So yeah, I like the Dolphins in this one. How about you?
Yeah, I feel like Arizona will have some success running the ball against Miami. The Dolphins, they've surrendered 100 yards or more in each game this season. Teams coming out controlling the game, scoring a lot against them. Of course, you factor in that Tua's been out, so they haven't had the ball much on offense to help their defense. Then you factor in the point that James Conner, he had a breakout game last week against the Chargers. Defense helped a lot. They forced some fumbles, set them up with good field goal, good field goal position and field position and momentum. Um, you mentioned Kyler and Marvin Harrison. Yeah, I agree. I hope they start getting on the same page. The rookie's so talented, but it's just like the ball's not getting thrown his way. Trey McBride has really come to form this year, making some plays for the Arizona offense. But it's nothing like having a number one wide receiver and you have him there. You drafted him number 4. You know what his father probably taught him and the physical talent that we saw in college. So get the ball to him, Arizona, and find a way to get the ball to him and let him do his thing. But yeah, Miami, we've seen it. They're not the same without Tua. So again, it's looking like he's going to play. I hope he does. If that's the case, I'm going to go with Miami. Otherwise, I got to give Arizona edge. But it is looking like Tua is going to be back out there and hopefully has a good, healthy game and a good rest of the season as well.
Gotcha. All right, everyone. We're gonna have like a mid-season breakdown at this point of the show. We're gonna talk about like teams that most surprise us. Let's begin with that. Brandon, who do you have for your most surprising team or team so far this
I
season?
got two. One in the AFC, Pittsburgh Steelers. They're 5-2. We all know they're going to be good. When you look at their final record, you know they're going to finish at 500 under Mike Tomlin. But the way they started this season, second place in division right now, basically tied for first, 4-1 versus the AFC. That's very important when it comes down to the playoff push later in the season. If they continue that record against their conference, they haven't had the toughest schedule, but of course we know that's out of their control. They can't control who they play so far, but their offense is much improved from last year. Last year was horrendous. So anything above last year is definitely a good sign for them. And as you can see, it's helped their record so far to this point. Then I'm going to go your Commanders, another 5-2 team. I thought Jaden would have a better year than Caleb Williams. Um, but he's took this team to another level, in my opinion. I think it all started against Cincinnati. I think that was an upset win, but it was a statement win there on the road in the jungle, near top of the league in rushing and scoring offense. And the defense even looks better as of late. You mentioned your guy, was it Emmanuel Forbes? I think he had an interception. Was that the
Hmm.
guy that's been benched lately? Yeah.
Yeah,
Plays like that, players like that, where you just have been struggling their whole career, and then all of a sudden they make a play like that. It could just be a momentum swing when you have that young quarterback that this team has had issues with quarterbacks over the years. So to get somebody like him again is starting to elevate other players and other aspects of the team, and that's why they're 5-2. Could be easily be 6-1 if they it held on against us. Um, but yeah, good. Washington and Pittsburgh are my most surprising teams at this point.
gotcha.
How about you?
Most surprising team for me right now is the Denver Broncos. Definitely did not see them being 4-3, second in the AFC West at this point of the season. They started the first two games of the season 0-2, losses against Seattle and Pittsburgh, and I kind of expected it to go that way. I thought they would have like two, maybe three wins at this point in the season, but then they shocked me. I think they shocked a lot of people when they came out and beat Tampa Bay 26-7. Then they started going on a win streak. They won the next two games as well. Bo Nix, he hasn't played the greatest, but I guess he started to find his stride. But that defense has just been lights out lately. Patrick Surtain, the second, definitely has an argument as one of the best cornerbacks in this league, if not number one. Definitely top three in my opinion. He went out with concussion and was out like a week. They lost against the Chargers and came back and last Thursday beat on New Orleans 33-10. So right now, my most surprising team is the Denver Broncos. I just did not see them at this point in the season being 4-3. I'm kind of surprised, especially that Jets win. I mean, that I'm still pissed about that. The Jets, they were my guaranteed pick of the week, and the damn kicker, the Jets defense for some reason fourth quarter hit. They couldn't stop the run and save the damn lights. And Aaron Rodgers and Mike Williams and everybody on the offensive side of the ball couldn't score a damn touchdown. I was like, wow. So yeah, salute to the Denver Broncos right now. All right, talk about the most surprising teams. Let's talk about teams that have not lived up to expectations, in our opinion. Brandon, which team or teams have not lived up to your expectations so far, man?
West, the Rams and the 49ers. I know they've been crippled by injuries, both of those rosters. Both defenses aren't living up to expectations as a whole. The Rams secondary is atrocious in my opinion. San Fran is they're starting to get their guys back. But this NFC West is wide open, so I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they come back and make a run there. The 49ers in that aspect. The Jets and the Browns in the AFC, not necessarily my opinion, but national sports media has been high on these teams since the Browns signed Deshaun Watson to that guaranteed contract. And then when the Jets bought over Aaron Rodgers, it was like both, you watch it on any type of sports show, somebody on there was picking one of those teams to go to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl. Jets can't protect Aaron Rodgers. They can't run the ball either. And the Browns just can't move the ball. plain and simple. So yeah, those are four teams right there: Jets, Browns, 49ers, and Rams. What about you?
Definitely the Browns for me. Like you said, man, I know Deshaun Watson didn't play well last season before he got hurt. I thought coming this season, he would be healthy going into the off season, have some time to just work on his game, even with all the off field noise that he's dealing with. But that defense hasn't helped out. They've been bad. Of course, we know Nick Chubb was out, but I still thought for some reason the offensive line, which was good last year,
Yeah,
would be able to open up some holes so they can run the ball. But it hasn't been the case this season. The offensive line's been bad. It seems like you can almost guarantee at least 3 false starts. Somebody off around, looking around, scratching their head, wondering what's going on.
yeah.
So definitely the Browns for me. And then the Jaguars. I thought they would be way more competitive at this point of the season, but they turned out to be one of the worst teams, especially on defense. They do have a bright light in Brian Thomas, their rookie wide receiver. I think he's going to be really good. But Trevor Lawrence, I just don't know. It's like he's playing like it's still a preseason or something. He has not been good. They did win last week. Maybe they can turn it around. But at this point of the season, the Jaguars have not lived up to my expectations. I thought they'd be way more competitive. I think I had them like second going in the AFC South, but that definitely doesn't look like the case too. Also the Titans. So there's two teams in the AFC South. I thought Will Levis going out of last season, I should say, will look a little better, but he's definitely not the case. I think that it got even more, highlighted when Malik Willis came into town with Green Bay and beat the Titans. I'm sure that's like his happiest win of his career so far, going back against his old team who gave up on him, got rid of him, and he was able to get a win and make them look like damn clowns for getting rid of him because Will Levis has been absolutely horrible. DeAndre Hopkins, I'm glad you were able to get out of there, out of that dumpster fire. I feel bad for Calvin Ridley. I mean, he's so damn sad and mad every time he has to get up on the field. So I just don't know. So yeah, give me half of the AFC South with the Jaguars and the Titans, and then definitely the Browns as far as my teams who haven't lived up to expectations. Now, the remainder of the season, how you think it'll go? Which teams, you think we're gonna make a run, or how do you think the season is gonna go overall for the rest of the year, man?
No brainer. Got to give credit to the defending Super Bowl champions back to back Chiefs. They should
Mm.
finish top of the AFC unless they beat themselves. I don't think anybody in the AFC. That's not necessarily saying they'll come out of the AFC to the Super Bowl. I think they'll definitely be the one seed, and it'll have to go through Kansas City to get to the Super Bowl. I think the Chargers will make a late season push as well. Right now, I believe they're 3-3 on the season. They had their struggles since they started. I think 2-0 or 3-0. They've the run game has kind of gotten away from itself, but I do like them to make a late season push. Cincinnati's also lurking in the AFC North. Can't ever count out Joe Burrow and those guys as well. NFC bold prediction: your quarterback, Jaden Daniels, he'll continue to elevate that team there in Landover and DC, and um, they'll win the NFC East, in my opinion. They're in the lead right now. I think the only real challenge to them is Philadelphia. And again, we just never, right now, we don't know what to expect from Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts and those guys. But I think, again, I mentioned it a few minutes ago, San Fran will also come back. They'll go from worst right now in the NFC West to division winners. That NFC West is wide open. Seattle came out the gates good. They kind of quieted down. Of course, the Cardinals are kind of, they're middle tier. The Rams, they're coming off a win last night. They're starting to get their guys back, but San Fran has that experience. They have good coaching, so I believe they'll also will make a very good run here at the end of the season. How do you feel the remainder of the season will go?
I'm gonna start with the AFC side of the ball. Let's start with the AFC West. I agree with you. I think the Chiefs will keep doing their thing. As long as Patrick Mahomes stays healthy and our defense continue to play the way it does, I think they'll be fine getting out of the AFC West and making a push in the playoffs, having a good chance for be the first team to three-peat. I think Denver is gonna take a slide. I know they're my most surprising team, but I think they're going to run into some teams that I don't care how good that defense is. I think the Chargers are going to overtake them. They just need to get healthy with that wide receiver position and tight end position. And Justin Herbert give him some help, somebody who can catch a down ball. I wouldn't be surprised they make a trade to get another wide receiver there. Maybe bring Mike Williams back, who definitely looks like he's going to be on his way out in New York for the Jets. AFC South, I like Houston to maintain control over that division. Um, they need to get Nico Collins back as fast as possible, though. CJ Stroud and that offense has been, Joe Mixon's putting the team on his back, especially last week. CJ Stroud hasn't looked how I thought he would look, but they're continuing to win games. I think CJ Stroud will get better. I think his stats will improve, and that offense will get more electric, more diverse. That passing game will open up, and the AFC South should stay in Houston. I think Jacksonville will make a push though. I'm gonna be, I guess, hard headed, and I think Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he's a bad quarterback. So I think he will play better than what he's played to start the season. I think him and Brian Thomas will continue to build a rapport. That chemistry will get good. Tank Bigsby is looking like a hell of a running back. Him and Travis Etienne coming out that backfield like that. And that defense just needs to play a little bit better. And I think Jacksonville can come out that division at least in second place. AFC North, I think y'all will run away with it, honestly. But Pittsburgh, the way Russell Wilson looked, I know it was against the Jets, and they were having some issues on that defensive secondary, injuries and stuff like that. But that offense looked way better with Russell Wilson out there, giving his receivers a chance. So I wouldn't be surprised if that division, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, both, a fight for second place. But I think y'all got the division on lock right now. Derrick Henry has been a godsend for y'all. Zay Flowers has stepped up. Rashad Bateman has stepped up. So I think y'all going to win the AFC North. AFC East, I think Buffalo's got it at this point. Josh Allen hasn't thrown an interception yet, which is a surprise to me. I'll see how long that continues to go. Just the Jets, man. I don't want to say a dumpster fire, but definitely some smoke is rising, and that's not a good thing, in my opinion. We'll see how much Devontae Adams can help, but that defense is taking a step back, especially now that Robert Saleh's gone. They take even a further step back, in my opinion. We'll see if they can get things back together now that Hassan Reddick's back in the fold, but that run defense has not looked good, and it's starting to hurt that pass defense as well. NFC side of the ball, start with the NFC West. I think the Rams are really going to make a push. I think the Rams and possibly Arizona, if they can play more consistent, they'll make a push. I don't know about San Fran, man. I think the loss of Brandon Ayuk is really going to hurt them. They need Christian McCaffrey back. If he comes back, I like their chances. But I think those other three teams, Seattle, Arizona, and the Rams, are going to keep competing, keep being competitive. They all have three good running backs. Kenneth Walker for the Seahawks, James Conner, as you mentioned, for the Cardinals, and Kyron Williams for the Rams. So that division I'm going to keep a close eye on. I don't really know how that one's going to go. If I had to make a guess, I'm going to say the Rams, though. I think Matthew Stafford, with his two weapons back, that offense, will start doing some things. NFC South, now that Chris Godwin is hurt, lost for the year, Mike Evans is gone for at least the next month with that hamstring injury. I think they're going to kind of, go on a tailspin a little bit. The two teams behind them, New Orleans and Carolina, have not been looking good. So I think they'll maintain where they're at, second in the division, but I don't think they'll be as competitive. I think the Falcons will probably win this division at this point right now from what I'm seeing from them. Kirk Cousins, just don't turn the ball over. Don't turn into Kirk Cousins that I know, which has a good chance of happening. But the offense they got, the weapons they got, let Bijan Robinson do his thing. Kirk, if you see Kyle Pitts, throw him the down ball, please. My goodness. NFC North has been I want to say the most surprising division for me. I didn't expect the Bears to play as good as they have. Caleb Williams, at the start of the season, looked a little shaky, but now he's starting to hit his stride. Laura, I really don't want Jaden Daniels to play against that Bears defense, and Montez Sweat. I think he's going to try to make a statement against us since we let him go. But everybody in that division is over 500 by at least a game or two. Detroit's 5-1, Minnesota's 5-2. I think they're going to go on a downtrend, though. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish last or third in the division, and Chicago and Green Bay leapfrog them. Jordan Love, I mean, come on now. We all know what we think about him and how he makes that offense look. And Chicago, I think they'll continue to get better as long as Caleb Williams gets better. So I think Detroit has a good grasp of that division though. So give me Detroit come out NFC North. And then NFC East, I like the Eagles. I want to say the Commanders, but I like the Eagles. Our defense, the Commanders' defense, I just don't trust them. I don't. I think the Eagles will will show when we play the Eagles. I think Saquon Barkley could break the single season rushing record against us. In my honest opinion, I wouldn't be surprised he rushed for like 300 damn yards. Nowadays, you got Jalen Hurts in the backfield, and honestly, if Jaden is banged up the game before, bench him against the Eagles. I don't want to see him going up against that D line of the Eagles after what they did to Daniel Jones. No, no, thank you. Dallas, Lord help them. It's every other week, their owner is dealing with something. He making some kind of headline. I think he criticized the play calling last week or this week, and there's reports coming out how former players on the Cowboys like I ain't like playing in Dallas because all the hoopla just going on. You got random people coming in the damn. You don't know who the hell is walking in the locker room or in the stadium because they got tours of this part of the field, tours of that part of the stadium. You just don't never know. So give me the Eagles coming out of the NFC East. And yeah, that's how I think the rest of the season will go. We'll have another one of these breakdowns a little later in the season, how we, once we get a little bit more clarity in the NFL and make some playoff predictions. What do you think about that, man? All right.
Right. Well, now we're going to transition back to the near future. Other games for Week 8: Baltimore at Cleveland, the Titans at the Lions, Jets at Patriots, Falcons at Bucks, Packers at Jaguars, Indianapolis at Houston will round out the early games on Sunday afternoon. Saints at Chargers there in LA, Buffalo at Seattle, Panthers at Broncos, Chiefs at Raiders, Chicago at Washington, and Monday Night Football will feature the Giants and Steelers there from Western Pennsylvania. Ed, which of these games are you looking forward to?
Definitely gonna have my eye on my Commanders at Chicago. Lately the Chicago Bears beat the hell out of us.
Yeah.
Their running backs look like Walter Payton, any great running back of the Bears. So I want to see how that goes. If like I said, Marcus Mariota, please get to start. I don't care about the number one, number two matchup. Let's see. Falcons out Bucks rematch a couple weeks ago. Want to see how the Bucks look without Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. I think the Falcons should win that one, but you never know. Division matchup. Buffalo at Seattle. I think that could be a potentially good game. See if Josh Allen won't throw anymore. Will keep his non-interception for the seasons down, or will Tariq Woolen and those cornerbacks, Dre Witherspoon, we would pick him off. Chiefs at Raiders. I remember preseason or early in the season, the Raiders had like a doll or something they made of Patrick Mahomes. Definitely think Mahomes remembers that, and he got that in the forefront of his head right now and wants to put it on the Raiders. So we'll see how that looks, especially with the quarterbacks that the Raiders have. Guaranteed pick right there, one of them at least. And then Monday Night Football, of course, Giants at the Steelers. Want to see how, again, Russell Wilson looks out there against the Giants. And, Monday night games, I'm picking the Steelers to win, but you just Monday nights and me, when my picks are Monday nights, you never know. Elite neighbors, you probably fuck around, get 200 yards receiving. I just don't know. But, yeah, those are the games I'm mostly keeping an eye on. Oh, I'm tripping. Indy at Houston. That first game they played week 1 was a really good game. So I want to see how this one looks for me. Yeah. But how about you, man? Which of these games you be looking at?
We split the series last year with Cleveland. We got to get it done this time. I think it was 28-3. We went there last year. It always seems to be gloomy there in Cleveland when we play. Zero in on Myles Garrett. Jameis is starting this one. We need to create some turnovers. I know he's throwing a lot of interceptions in his career. We we do all right against backup quarterbacks when we got time to prepare. Like we had the whole week to prepare for them. It's when they come in during the game is when we struggle against those backup quarterbacks. But again, he has a big arm as well. He's throwing a lot of touchdowns as well. So his touchdown to interception ratio is right there, pretty much even. They got a new offensive play caller as well, so we don't know exactly what to expect. Hope it's not a trap game. Come out with a win, Baltimore. Gotta beat this team. I think they're 1-5 on the year or something like that. Falcons and Bucks. I'll definitely be watching this Tampa Bay offense. How will Bake respond after two bonehead interceptions last week? And will they try to run the ball a little bit more without Godwin and Evans out there for the near future? Chiefs and Raiders, you mentioned that one as well. Las Vegas beat Kansas City last year. I believe it was on Christmas Day. Might they get it done again? We'll see. They'll be at home in this one. And Giants and Steelers as well. I'll be looking forward to this one. Steelers, they better have an action plan for Dexter Lawrence. He calls himself Sexy Dexy. He leads the NFL in sacks, and he has two brothers on the outside, Kayvon Thibodeau and was it Brian Burns? Those guys are lighting it up. That pass rush for the Giants, despite their record, is pretty damn good there with the New York Football Giants. Looking forward to that one.
All right, let's get to our guaranteed picks of the week. Like I said, I got Chiefs against the Raiders. I'm so confident. I'm putting my push-up bet on the line. Let's see. I'm gonna stick with 30 push-ups. Chiefs beating the Raiders. If the Raiders win, I'll do 30 push-ups. And like I said, I think the Steelers are gonna beat the Giants too. So I got two guaranteed picks. So give me the Chiefs over the Raiders, and give me the Steelers over the Giants for my guaranteed picks. How about you, man? Who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Packers over the Jaguars. You talked about that Jaguars defense earlier in this show. I know you mentioned Brian Thomas. He's really come to form as a rookie. Those rookie wide receivers around the league are doing pretty good things, but they can't stop the ball. They cannot stop anybody on defense. So Green Bay's defense is creating turnovers. You know, Trevor Lawrence has been quite generous over his entire career with giving the ball to the opposing defenses, so I think that'll help set up their offense for some shorter drives. They'll get into end zone um, a lot more than Jacksonville. Jordan Love will have himself a good game. Romeo Dobbs and those guys as well. Give me the Packers over the Jaguars down there at Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Duval County.
All right. Gotcha. Once again, I mentioned it last episode. NBA is back. My
Yeah.
Wizards, same old Wizards, they got blown the hell out by the Celtics. Everyone saw that coming though, but NBA is back. World Series has started, everyone. Game starts in a few minutes, I want to say. Yankees at the Dodgers. I wish I could go to the damn game with them tickets. I ain't trying to pay that much for the tickets right now. Maybe Dodgers making next year, I'll try to save a little bit more money and go to a game or two. But yeah, Yankees at Dodgers. NBA is back, but definitely going to have a good weekend watching some NFL football. Everybody be safe out there. Once again, I want to thank everybody who watches the show. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter as well. And y'all be safe out there, all right?